This question asks, a study was conducted that comprised of 218 cases of men with known fertility issues. 240 men whose partners were pregnant at the time of the study were matched as controls. The study found that 138 of the cases were smokers and 91 of the controls were smokers. What is the risk of being infertile for smokers? Now, the first thing that we need to do is determine what type of study is being conducted, and we know that this is a case control study because we have a disease which is infertility, and we're going back in time looking for exposures, the exposure being smoking. Now, the measure of association that we use for case control studies is the odds ratio. The odds ratio is very simple. We're basically drawing a 2x2 table, alright, and I'm going to tell you exactly the numbers that you need to put in. Now on top, we're going to put in the disease, and on the side we have the exposure. On the top left column, we're going to have infertility, okay, and then we have the absence of disease right next to it. For the exposure, we have smoking and the absence of smoking. Now, it tells us that there are 218 cases of men with known fertility issues, so a total of 200 cases of infertility. And we are going to have 240 men who don't have infertility, so we're going to write 240. So this is the total. Now it tells us that the study found that 138 of the cases were smokers. Right, so 138 of the men who were infertile were smokers, and 91 of the controls were smokers. Now all we're going to do is we're going to do 218 minus 138, and this is going to give us 80, and then we do 240 minus 91, and this is going to give us 149. Now to calculate the odds ratio, all we're going to do is multiply these two and then divide by the product of these two. Okay, so we're going to do 138 times 149 divided by 91 times 80. And the number that we're going to get is that we're going to get 2.82. And what this tells us that if you have infertility, you are 2.82 times more likely to smoke. If this number had a 1 in front of it, so if it was like 1.8 for example, for the odds ratio, the null value showing no increased risk is 1. So if the confidence interval includes 1, then that means that there's no statistical evidence for either an increase or a decrease in risk of infertility due to smoking. Since it's 2.82, we see an increase in infertility due to smoking. And this is all you need to know for the odds ratio.